fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Deluxe Class Autobot Slammer from Transformers Kingdom War for Cybertron Trilogy. He is part of the final wave of Kingdom, kind of sneaking in under the wire along with Pipes and Blaster. And I think technically Core Class Hot Rod, but I have not seen him anywhere yet, so he might slide into Legacy. We'll have to see how that works. But Slammer, of course, being one of the companions of Metroplex, so this should give us all three. I think Scamper actually came with Metroplex back in the day, and of course we had 6-Gun in Siege, and now we have Slammer here in Kingdom. Although it's weird to have Scamper be Legends class and the other two to be Deluxe class, so who knows, maybe we'll get a redo of Scamper one of these days, wouldn't surprise me. Packaging pretty standard here, nice artwork of the robot mode and the tank mode here on the front. On the back, it just shows us we have the robot mode, tank mode, and of course he is a weaponizer, so you can take them all apart, and they show Pipes having some armor here, which we'll take a look at. And then the standard Kingdom mural over here on this side. So not too much going on with the packaging, but I do really like the artwork here on the front. I'm going to go ahead, get him out of the box, and we're going to take a closer look. So here is Slammer out of the packaging, and I like the color scheme. I think it works pretty well. He's got this giant piece on the back here that I really feel like just gets in the way. Now, luckily, you can just take it off since he is a weaponizer and just kind of put that off to the side if you'd like. And that way you can kind of get into all the articulation and everything. Otherwise, I just feel like that back piece really gets in the way. I really like the head sculpt. It's very simplistic. It kind of reminds me of one of those, like, mech suits from Gundam that aren't really a Gundam, but, like, the support suits. Like, I just love the visor and just the kind of, you know, mouth plate there. I really like the design of that. Nice Autobot symbol there on the front. Head is on a ball joint, so of course you can look up and down. This piece tilts back for the transformation, but you can tilt back and forth a little bit of side to side. Certainly looks side to side, no problem. You have a rotation here. This is really just because this pegs in, so rotation there. You have a hinge here in the shoulder. You have a bicep swivel, again, because it just is a peg that you can pop off. You have a nice 90-degree bend there in the elbow. The hand, forearm, you know, wrist, all that's one solid piece, so no articulation there. You have a swivel here, again, because it is just a peg. So a lot of these are just swivels because they're just pegs and you can move them around as you like. You do have kind of an ab crunch there, which is kind of fun. You have out to the side, front and back in the hip. You have a thigh swivel, over 90 degrees there in the knee. And then you do have some ankle tilt here, but this is kind of loose. And I feel like this doesn't even really stabilize him that well. He doesn't have the best heels, so kind of getting him to stand can be a little difficult. You just have to make sure you find the right weight distribution. And then he just has the cannon here, which pegs onto this peg near his fist. So he's got just kind of like a giant cannon arm, kind of like Megatron. So I like that. I think that looks pretty cool. This piece, of course, you can just peg right back on here if you want. And it kind of just gives him like a little cape or something. Kind of reminds me of, like, you know, Cell's wings from DBZ, something like that. But just kind of hangs back there. I think it just gets in the way. Like I said, you can take it off, you can leave it on, whatever you like. But overall, he's a cool little robot. He definitely gives me, like, a drone feel. You know, he looks like you could mass produce these guys and send them into battle. But I definitely think he looks pretty cool. I like him quite a bit. Alright, so for his transformation, I'm going to pretty much just disassemble a lot of things. You can take the arms and kind of put them up like this. And then we're going to unpeg these. We're going to take this piece off the back. Take the legs off at the thigh swivel. Swivel the waist around 180. Swivel the head around 180. Drop that down. And then we'll put this off to the side for a moment. Going to take the two arm pieces and they are going to peg together. You can see how there is kind of a tab and a tab slot so that these two pieces can peg into each other like so. You're going to take this small piece off the back of this, and then this is going to peg on here so that then you can kind of center the cannon just like that. And then you're going to take these two tabs or large pegs and they're going to peg in back here to this tank tread piece like so. So he kind of almost has like a weird drone feel to it, but you're going to take the legs. This is going to fold back into the back of the calf there. And then you're going to just pop this out 90 degrees. So pop that out, spin that back in. And then this will kind of like fill in this empty space. So you can see the peg underneath. That's going to peg into this peg hole here. So you're going to kind of drop this like that, and it just kind of fills in this tank area here. So drop that in like so. Then you can kind of rock the turret down like this, and then you're going to take this section here and just plug it onto the front, and then you're just going to rotate this underneath like so. And there you go. There is your ridiculously boxy little tank. He's kind of cool though. I like him. You don't have a ton of motion here with the turret. You can kind of go up and down. Can't really do side to side because of the way it transforms, but you can kind of move it up and down a little bit. Otherwise, really nice paint down here for the treads. I think that looks really cool. Got a manufacturer number there on the side. Not too crazy about that, but what are you going to do? But yeah, he's just a big, blocky tank. Not too much going on with him, but it's kind of fun. He rolls nice. I will give him that. Some nice molded in detail, some nice paint applications around, but for the most part, he's kind of just a rectangle on tank treads with a turret that can slightly move up and down. But I think he's charming in his own way, and I think he's a lot of fun. Alright, so now we'll get into some Weaponizer stuff. I have pipes here to assist us since he was featured on the back of the packaging. And you're basically just going to take him all apart like you do with all these Weaponizers. Pop this off. Pop this off. Pop this off. And you can kind of just make whatever you want. Now, of course, the directions have some, like, you know, specific configurations that they want to show you, but you can do whatever you want. They have you take these pieces off, and these are going to kind of clip together, so you have the two tank tread pieces kind of making like a chainsaw sword, which is kind of neat. And then you're going to take this connector piece right here, and then this is going to peg on here so that he can hold it. So you can either have him just hold it like this as a giant chainsaw sword, or you can kind of peg it into the forearm if you like. So whatever you think looks cooler, I think that's kind of neat. You have these two kind of missile pod things here, so you can kind of peg this back in. And then you just have these two missile pod pieces here, and what they want you to do is take this and flip this part all the way around, so you have this out the front. And then you can peg these on to here. And then you can use like this connector to peg this onto his back, which I think looks monstrously ridiculous, but you can certainly do so. I can't even fit it all in frame. You can kind of bring this down and rotate these up however you want, but so you can give him those gigantic missile pods. Then you just have to figure out how to balance him without him falling over. Luckily, he's got pretty big heels. And then you can do whatever else you want if you want to, you know, put this on here and give him another gun on this side. It's kind of just whatever you want. That's the fun of Weaponizers. You could have some pieces left over. You can just put them off to the side, whatever you want to do. But I really like the chainsaw sword. I think that's kind of cool. This gun over here is kind of meh. The missile pods are neat, but this is so clunky. I wish there was an easier way to just, like, use the missile pod pieces. So, like, if I could just take these and put this thing all off to the side here and just kind of, like, mount these here or something like that, I think that would be kind of neat. But they don't really have... Well, could these peg onto here? Not really. But I'm sure we could think of something. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like, you know, there's too much. I mean, I guess you could use these somehow and maybe connect something like that. I don't know. But I just feel like this whole rig is really big and clunky, but it is a way to get it to peg on. And the other thing is, if you have other Weaponizers, you can mix and match. So if you really like these pieces, use a connector port from something else, you know, or maybe just use this piece here. Maybe we could peg this on the back somehow and get it to connect. Maybe, maybe something like this. Maybe peg that on the back and then take this and peg this in here maybe. And then maybe you could do the pods that way. I don't know. Anyway, there's lots of options. I think it's kind of fun. I think the chainsaw sword is definitely the clear winner here, but definitely some fun Weaponizer possibilities with Slammer. So I think Slammer's fun in his own right. He's definitely a very nondescript Autobot. Very drone-like, you know, it kind of has a very basic head sculpt. But I think it looks fun. I love that pop of blue there for the visor. Really goes well with the rest of the color scheme. The transformation is fun. I mean, you basically end up with a rectangle that has a tank turret on top, so it's kind of a very basic tank. But again, I think that's part of his charm. I think that's just being very generic is just something that makes him a little endearing, which is kind of weird, but it works. And I just think he's kind of fun. It's just weird to see him kind of show up randomly here at the end of Kingdom, like they had been planning him for a while and didn't know where to pop him in, and so he just showed up here. I'll be interested to see if they use this mold for something else. I'm not really sure who else they could use it for, but it's Hasbro. I'm sure they're going to use it for something, because very rarely do they make a new mold and then only use it one time. So I'll be very interested to see what they do there. But in the meantime, I think he's fun. I recommend picking him up. He is a weaponizer, so if you're into that, I don't really use that aspect of the play feature all that often, but I appreciate that it exists. You know, there's a ton of crazy combinations you can make, mixing and matching with all the past weaponizers and fossilizers and all that, so I think that's kind of cool. It's also kind of neat to just see this guy finally complete the trio for Metroplex. If you have the one from years ago, which I unfortunately do not, you can finally have all three of these guys. Again, just kind of random because Scamper came with Metroplex, Six Gun was done back in Siege, and then, you know, this guy just kind of shows up randomly at the end of Kingdom. So, very random, very strange, but I think there's definitely fun to be had here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, thank you so much for watching.